I'm Dr. Cynthia Gulick. I started Southwest Family Physicians 20 years ago, and in the last few years have developed a specialty in doing medical bariatrics, which is the specialty of medical weight loss, not surgical. My assumption is that you feel really frustrated, a little bit like this figure, and maybe worst of all, judged for something that you have struggled really hard with for some time now. At Oregon Medical Weight Loss, our premise is that folks that are overweight are perfectly smart, capable, and highly motivated, that you don't deserve to be as heavy as you find yourself, and that you're interested in learning more because deep down inside you know that you are still heavier than how good you've been. When a frog is in hot water and the water gets slowly warmer and warmer, the frog might not jump out. Whereas if you drop a frog into hot water, it jumps right out. So in medicine, we sometimes call that normalizing a variance. It is common that when something gets slowly and incrementally worse and worse, it starts to seem normal. If there's a piece inside you that suspects and hopes that this isn't normal, we agree with you, it isn't normal. What do you do when you want to fix something? You might consult a pro, right? You want your golf swing to be better, you ask somebody to analyze it for you, and then coach you on how to improve it. So with the special expertise and training that we have through our medical bariatrics program, we're here to be analysts and coaches in how to help you fix, in this case, your health. This is a picture of me several years ago, being busy, 4 kids, building a practice, doing call. I delivered babies for 20 years. Poor sleep is not good for weight gain. And I figured when I really paid attention to it and really got around to it, I would be able to walk my talk, the talk that I shared with patients every day, and do a low-fat diet and exercise more and create the weight loss that I knew would happen once I really paid attention. And then I discovered, because I turned 50, that it wasn't as easy as I had thought, and none of the tricks that I used before were working anymore. There are many things I'm sure you've heard over and over, including what? Just eat less. It's just a balance, calories in versus calories out. Just a matter of more willpower. Just eat low fat. Follow that government food pyramid. Just exercise more. Just do it. This is a picture of me trying to get a black belt, and I definitely exercised very hard. Jumping jacks and push-ups, you name it. There was a lot I didn't know, and much that may have been unhelpful or even harmful. So how did I expect patients to fare any better? First of all, I want to show you all those admonitions, the low-fat, exercise more admonitions that I just referred to. What's happened over the last 25 years in the United States with those as the medical wisdom? So let's look at the data. It starts in 1985. The light blue is states in which rates of obesity are less than 10%, and the darker blue, it's greater than 10%. The white states there wasn't any data collected there yet. And BMI over 30 is the criteria for obesity. So they're not counting overweight, just obesity. 86, 87, you can see that not only are more states getting data, but they're definitely getting heavier. There's more and more states that are dark blue, until here we are in 1990. Almost the whole country now is dark blue. And by 91, a new category had to be formed, which is obesity at rates of greater than 15%. In 93, we now have no more light blue. By 95, we are almost half the darkest blue, which had only had been invented as a category a few years before. 97, 2 years later, we've already got another category. This is now states that are more than 20%, and in another 2 years, it's maybe a third of the country. In another 2 years, there's another category. This dark orange color now is states where obesity is more than 25%. That's 1.25. And that is only 9 years ago. 2002, 2004, the dark orange is now 1/3 of the country, and by 2006, 2007, 2009, we again have about 1/3 of the country in a category that is over 30% obese. If you include the number of folks who are overweight, we have a situation in our country where about 70% of the population is either overweight or obese. We've definitely normalized a variance. So the verdict, the living laboratory of history, would say this is not working. Something's wrong with this picture. And if the proverbial wisdom is that the food pyramid is the advice to follow, I think it's time to take a really hard look at that. So what answer do we have? We don't have a just anything. I would really be doing you a disservice if I suggested that there was one just thing that you can do. It's not simple. And if it were, you wouldn't be here. Everybody is different, and the tapestry that you can create from lots of threads that mix together can create a picture which is you, but no one thread in that tapestry makes you up. So our job is to look at each of those threads and to optimize them so that the picture that you comprise is as optimal as it can be. Your weight loss is as individual as you are. It's as unique as your weight gain was. So it takes a complex and a multifaceted approach. It definitely takes perseverance. And now that I've completely depressed you, the good news is that it's doable because it's scientific. It's not a matter of personal failure. It's not weak willpower. It's nothing to do with moral fortitude and all that bunk. It's objective and it's discoverable. So you do need to be armed with the right information, and you need a pro. You need an analyst and a coach that's on your side and an advocate for you. So this becomes a journey of discovery that we are on together. One of my favorite quotes is from Lance Armstrong. He said, "This is my body and I can do whatever I want to it. I can push it, I can study it, I can tweak it, I can listen to it." So our version at Oregon Medical Weight Loss is, this is your body. And you can do whatever you want to it. And together, you can push it, we can study it, we will listen to it, we can tweak it. Not just elite athletes deserve high performance attention and top-notch coaches and pros. You have a marathon to run, you have performance that you need to achieve too in your weight loss journey. We don't give up if you don't give up. And if there's a part of you that's thinking, oh, okay, I've been down that road before, what's different this time? Well, I think that's a good question. That's fair. We have at least 4 things that are different. Our medical perspective, I think, is unique to what most people will have been able to do on their own. And with that comes a one-on-one individualized approach that's comprehensive and long-term. When patients come and see us, we do a really thorough medical clearance, we call it. So a physical exam with an EKG, we screen for sleep disorders, mood problems that are in your way. We do a really careful review of your medications. Unfortunately, there are a lot of medications that are weight retaining, and luckily, there are really good meds that can be substituted that have gone generic as well. I do want patients to know that we work really collaboratively with their physician. So primary care physicians are usually very open and amenable to collaborating. They're usually excited for you that you're doing weight loss and relieved that their patient is going to get healthier, but they know that they don't have the time or the expertise to work with you as closely as we can. Labs need to be ordered. They need to be reviewed carefully, and there are often things that we look at that no one will have looked at before, or that we have ranges in which we know optimizing every thread in your tapestry means we need to get you optimal and not just adequate. We often use the phrase medical undertows. The laboratory workup can reveal biochemical factors that are at play that have sort of pulled you out to sea, even though you've been swimming really diligently in the direction you were told to. If you have pre-diabetes or pre-pre-diabetes, which can be called insulin resistance, you very well may not know that, and it's an insidious and strong current that's under the surface. It's an undertow. There are a lot of undertows. These are some of them. Insulin resistance, thyroid disease, which may be subclinical. Vitamin deficiencies are huge. Vitamin D deficiency is endemic in this area. We look at hormones, especially testosterone, because that's your vim and your vigor. It's an influence in both the physiology of men and women. Anemia is something we have to rule out. Sometimes with very heavy periods, women slowly can get anemic and they don't even realize how tired they are. Again, it's like that frog in the water that just got slowly warm. If you're tired for any reason, you're not sleeping well, or because you're anemic, your body is going to make you eat because it's trying to recharge its batteries. And your medications, as I said, we check your electrolytes, we try to address subclinical, untreated depression, anxiety, and overall there's this new appreciation that the fat cell, particularly the abdominal one, so it's the visceral adipocyte, it is a nasty cell. It's not just inert baggage like we used to think. It actually has an active role in secreting inflammatory cytokines and other proteins and hormones that do a job in your whole system. Sometimes I use the analogy like Darth Vader, just emanating evil power through the whole universe. If you get that fat cell to shrink, sort of like throwing water on the Wicked Witch of the West, it's shrinking, and its influence shrinks pretty fast, faster than you'd think, faster than it takes to get the weight loss on your scale. That's good news. All these things can seem very randomly unconnected, but through the lens of medical bariatrics, they're actually a very typical picture that we see often. The inflammation from that fat cell makes the plaque in your arteries more inflamed and increases your risk for stroke and heart attack. But diabetes and headaches and arthritis, aches and pains, asthma and poor breathing, all of those things actually have common denominators and are amenable to being influenced by weight loss. Medical muscle means arming you with a way to fight back against the giant that's been so overwhelming and made you feel so powerless. We're going to arm you with information that's like putting a sling in David's hand, and better yet, having more than one David because of our comprehensive plan, because of our gym sessions, because of our physical therapy and behavioral support, because of the kindred spirits that you might meet here. Once Goliath is surrounded with all these Davids, doesn't seem quite so invincible. The seminar series that we have is really a lot of fun, and it will involve some outside speakers and books, movies, videos, a nutritionist, our acupuncturist. We've really got the whole team on board with this. The long-term perspective is really what separates a serious weight loss program from the lightweights, because you all know already that that's what really counts, is if you can keep the weight off. But let me just tell you a little bit about the body composition analysis that we do. It has a bioelectrical impedance, and it can look at what your body fat is and what your muscle is, so that we can make sure that the weight that you're losing is all from your body fat and not from your muscle, because your muscle burns 10 times more calories than any other tissue, so it's very precious. These two guys are a great example of why body fat percentage is really the most important variable to monitor. BMI, or your body mass index, is calculated by dividing your weight by your height. These two gentlemen are both the same height and both the same weight. That makes their body mass index of 31 be identical, and obviously all three of those variables are useless at telling you the difference between the healthy 230 and the unhealthy 230. So the thing that gives you the difference is the body fat percentage, but the scale doesn't help you unless it has a body fat percentage in there, which is what will follow with you. The last thing on the body composition analysis that's really helpful is a prediction that can help you decide, because you have to drive your healthcare bus. We're just the coach, remember? You can go the short way or the long way, but you have to decide if you want to lose it faster or lose it slower. And the body composition analysis actually can predict for you how much you'll lose in a certain amount of time based on how many calories you eat, which is a very empowering tool. Patients often want to know, are we going to make them do meal replacements with shakes and bars? We don't make patients do anything. We do have those available because there are some data that shows that that is the shorter way to go. But as I said, you have to drive your healthcare bus and you get to choose. In conclusion, I just want to tell you that we have a lot of tools in our toolbox. So don't panic. Don't ever give up. We are here for you. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. By watching this video, you already made a start. Congratulations. Now take the next step, because if not now, when?